Can you hear me now?
Opo.
Opo.
Okay, very good. So may mga natawag na ako, no? Let's say for example, Miss Kayang, can you hear me? Wala siya talaga. Okay, let's have Miss De Vera, Angela. Mhm. Okay. Let's have Fabella, Jo, Nicole. What is a job?
A job, a group of related tasks or activities that needs to be performed to meet organizational objectives.
Okay, and then what is a job design? Continue.
Job design, activities that specify the content of each job and determine how work is distributed within the organization.
Okay, so this is the specific job design or the job description on what you will do or what your employees will do. Okay, when they get hired into your company. Next, what is a specialization of labor? Let's have Medina, Jennifer.
Specialization of labor, breaking apart jobs into tasks and
Mhm.
assigning tasks to different workers according to their special skills, talent, and tools.
Okay, so for example, sa mga engineering, me, electronics and communications engineering ang specialization ko. And then we also have, for example, chemical engineering, chemical engineer, no? Meron tayong mga mechanical engineers. And then we have electrical engineers. Yung electrical engineers yun sa mga bahay, na yung electrical yung mga kable-kable natin. And then, specifically naman sa business administration, we have OM, operations management na specialization, and then we also have financial management and marketing management. Meron din tayong HRM, human resource management. So that's a specialization of labor. Okay? Next, let's have job rotation. What is a job rotation? Let's have Tenorio, Crystal, Frances. Mhm. Let's have Mr.
Sir,
John Postrado. Ah, hello?
hindi ko po makita ano pong
Okay.
babasahin.
Ayan, how about this? Can
Job
you
rotation is the moving employees into a job for a short period of time and then out again.
mm Okay, so that particular, for example, meron kayong na-task kayo for cashier. Cashier kayo ng Jollibee and then after a certain number of months, ma-assign naman kayo into kitchen, something like that. Okay? And then sometimes naman, receptionist kayo and then sometimes pupunta naman kayo sa admin office. Yun yung job rotation. Okay. Sa mga professors naman, ang job rotation namin, meron kami iba-ibang subjects na tinuturo. Okay? And then every semester, iba-iba rin yung tinuturo naming subject. So that's job rotation. And then job enlargement naman, redesigning of jobs to provide greater variety, autonomy, and task identity. So for example, if you are a starter, kunwari electronics, computer engineer ka, no? So sa amin, meron kaming associate, okay, associate software engineer, and then you will be promoted into a greater task na software engineer, something like that. Even sa mga professors, we have associate professors, professors, and a more tenured senior professors. And then job enrichment naman, okay, that is giving some upgrades doon sa job ninyo. Specifically, for example, sa inyong mga business majors, ini-include natin ngayon yung business analytics. So, tapos na ba kayo mag-take ng subject na Power BI? Wala pa. Business
Yes.
intelligence. Wala pa sa inyo
Wala
nakapag-take.
po, sir.
Yeah. So that is an upgrade, no? For you to be enriched and be updated on the latest technology. Okay? Kasi sa corporate world, that's an important part of reporting. Kunwari, kailangan ng mga managers natin or ng mga senior directors ng certain report, you should be able to program it. So hindi lang kayo basta-basta ngayon na Excel lang, no? Kailangan marunong na rin kayo gumamit ng mas upgraded software. So I would suggest if that would be offered to you, yung Power BI or Business Intelligence, please enroll on that subject. Kasi ang laki ng salary for that, no? Yeah. So tutukan niyo yun kasi maganda siyang, no? Next, we have an operation chart. I think this is a given graphical tool na to analyze the motions okay, ng routine ng every employee or any repetitive task inside your company. And then we have the activity chart, okay, sample graphic tool that analyzes the physical actions of each of your employee or even you, no, that performs a routine, a repetitive, or a work machine task. Okay? So that meron tayong tinatawag class na idle time. So for example, if your shift is from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., normally class, ilang hours tayo nag-work sa isang araw? 8
8, sir.
hours. Okay, correct. Very good. So 8 hours tayo. And as what you can see, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., ilang hours yan? So
9
that is
hours.
9
9.
hours. Good. And then, bakit naging 8 lang siya? Kasi meron tayong tinatawag na lunch break. No? So that lunch break is normally from 12 noon to 1 p.m. Kung ang shift ninyo is from 8 to 5. So from 8 to 12, that's the first 4 hours of your job. Okay? And then from 1 to 5, that's the second half of your job. Normally, meron tayong tinatawag na, for example, activity chart natin from 8 a.m. to, let's say, 10 a.m., you are creating reports. Okay? From 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., kunwari managers na kayo, no? You're into meetings. Okay? 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., that is lunch break. Okay? From 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., another meeting. Kasi nga managers kayo, no? And then from 4 p.m. to 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., let's say wala kayong masyadong ginagawa, no? Wala kayong meeting, wala kayong tasks on hand. So that would be idle time na tinatawag. Okay? That you are idle on that particular time. Let's say 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. we have wrap up. And we say wrap up class, okay? So yun na yung parang nag-ano na kayo, fina-finalize nyo na yung mga emails ninyo for the day, you're finalizing the reports for that day, no? So we call that wrapping up. And then, para pag 5 p.m., makakapag-time out na kayo sa office ninyo. So normally, you as a manager, okay, kailangan malilesen nyo yung idle time nung mga employees ninyo. Kasi, for example, we are paying them 1,000 per day. Okay? So that's how much per hour. So 1,000 divided by 8 hours. Tama ba, class? So per hour mo, 125 pesos ang binabayad per employee. Okay? And then, idle siya from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. So magkano ang masasayang na pinapasweld natin for that particular employee? 125 pesos times 20 days. So sayang yung 2,500 pesos. Okay? And then that's equivalent to how much na sana. Okay? Imagine niyo that is 2.5 days na idle siya. Okay? So as much as possible, you should be able to minimize the idle time of your employees in corporate world. May naka-experience na ba dito, class, na magtrabaho sa call center? Okay. Yeah. Miss Manu. Normally, do you have idle time?
Wala po, sir.
Ano, dire-diretso. And then every hour, ilang. Tama ba?
Yes po.
Oo. May queuing, something like that. Yan.
Bihira lang po. Depende po sa schedule kasi.
Mm-mm. Ano ba ang
Sir, present po pala ako. Nakakauwi ko lang po kasi nasa biyahe po kanina.
Yeah, okay lang.
Thank you
Yun, no?
po.
So that this is an example of a activity chart. Okay, so that we can see the performance of each worker. And normally, yung mga software na dinedevelop ko, yung time in and time out, namomonitor talaga kada segundo ng galaw ninyo, no? Doon sa computer or sa queue if you are a call center agent. Something like that. Okay? And then the flow process chart or the flow chart, I have already shown this to you on the previous sessions. Okay? So, graphical tool siya that shows the activities from start to finish. And then lastly, the Gantt chart. Okay? So, that is being made to study the activities of a group of people working together. Okay? So, working together. Here is an example of a Gantt chart. This one. Kunwari, yan. Si press operator at this particular time, nag-elevate siya ng bidet. And then nag-position siya ng bidet sa banyo. No? And then position dummy, build pressure, etc. etc. Kung ilang minutes yung ginawa yun. No? And then assistant, the furnace man, etc. So this is a gang process chart. So let's have some, kasi may mathematical, you as operations manager, kailangan included rin yung mathematical skills. Yung mga minor lang, no? Minor maths lang. For example, okay, you have a company that produces 1,500 units per day using 4 workers on a 5-hour shift. So on average daw, okay. Let's have Miss Roy. Please read the problem for us.
Your company produces 1,500 units per day using 4 workers on a 5-hour shift. On average, 12% of the units produced are defective and must be scrapped. What is the labor productivity for non-defective units?
Okay. So the number of units, okay, so productivity is equals to output all over labor input. Labor input class, take note of this, okay, is the number of employees, okay, times nung number of hours silang nagwo-work or yung shift nila. Okay? So for this particular example, so our labor input is number of employees. Ilan na employees daw niya? 4. Okay? Ilan hours yung shift? 5. So sa ilalim ng formula, productivity is equals to output over labor input. Okay? So ito siya, 4 times 5. Okay? And then, for the output, sabi, meron daw 12% ng units na defective na inaalis. Okay? So meaning to say, yung 1,500 babawasan natin ng 12%. Okay? So 1,500 minus 12% ng 1,500. So that is equivalent to 1,500 minus 180 divided by 20. So meaning to say, okay, 1,320 divided by 20, so that is 66 units per hour. Okay. So we have 1,320 divided by 20. That's 66 units. Meaning to say, each employee, every 5-hour shift niya, nakakagawa siya ng 66 units. Okay. So that's his or her productivity. Okay. So there's another formula class na ginagamit ko as operations manager, no? So hindi na ako gumagamit pa nitong formula na to, itong part na to. Okay? So I will just subtract 12% sa 100% mentally. So 100 minus 12. Let's have Ramos, Miss Marian. 100 minus 12.
88, sir.
So 88, no? So yung multiply lang natin yung 1,500 by 0.88. Okay. So ang correct answer niyan, 1,320 rin. Okay? You don't need to use this staggering formula. Okay? You as operations manager or managers in the future, okay, kapag may nakita kayong ganyan, you will just subtract it from 1. Okay? And then makukuha niyo na siya and then ito na rin yung sagot. Okay? So 1,320. And then divided by 20. Saan galing tong 20? 4 workers times 5 hours. Okay. Do you have any questions? That's noted. Sige. No questions? Let's proceed to the next problem. Okay. Let's have Luis, Erica.
A dentist has established the standard that her office should treat 40 patients per day. However, on a particular day, the office treats only 30 patients. Her office efficiency that day is
Okay. So, I think familiar na kayo dito, output over input. Okay? So, ang output niya, naka 30 patients lang siya sa isang araw. And ang goal niya or ang quota na tinatawag ay 40 patients. So, output 30 divided by input 40 times 100%, meaning to say 75% lang yung na-meet niya for that particular day. Okay? So do you have any questions with regards to productivity and efficiency? All right. So now, let's proceed with the breakout rooms. Okay? Before I break you out, okay, here are the problems. Okay? Miss Lood, please read problem number 1.
Assume that you own a local pub in Quezon City. Determine the labor productivity of your waiters. If your waitresses, Don, John, Patrick, Oliver, and Ryan, served an average 4,000 customers each day, hours 7 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Clear ba yung problem? Okay, so kunwari nagmamay-ari kayo ng pub, no? And then you have 5 waiters, and then yung shift nila is from 7 a.m. to 5, okay? And then average of 4,000 customers. So you need to compute for the labor productivity. Next, let's have for the second problem, Pakosa. Okay,
Your shoe company produces 10,000 pairs of shoes per day using 150 workers from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., wherein their lunch break is from 12 noon to 1 p.m. On average, 5% of the units produced are defective and must be scrapped. What is the labor productivity for non-defective units?
Okay, so this is related no dun sa sample nating problem that I discussed. Okay. So dito nagmamay-ari daw kayo ng shoe company na meron kayong 150 employees. And that 150 employees every day nakakapag-produce sila ng 10,000 pairs of shoes from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Okay? And then 5% yung defective lagi araw-araw, no? And then we need to know the labor productivity of each worker for non-defective units per day. Okay? Next, for the third activity, let's have Miss Hamisola.
Your store seller employee was assigned a quota of 500 meals to be sold per day. However, on a particular day, she only sold 440 meals. Compute her efficiency for that day.
Okay, so efficiency is equals to output over input times 100. Okay, kunwari store seller kayo and may minimit na quota yung employee ninyo and you want to measure her efficiency. And lastly, okay, each of you, okay, inside the group must provide any product that you use, okay? And then rate it from 1 to 5, 5 being the highest. So for example, si student number 1, student 1, kunwari, cellphone. Okay, i-rate niya siya kunwari ng 3 from the importance, 5 being the highest. Okay, based on importance. And then let's have, for example, pangalawa naman, bread. Kahit anong item yan, no? Or product, kunwari 4. And then let's have alcohol, 5, etc. So kailang student kayo sa bawat group, you must have certain, let's say, sa 10 kayo sa loob ng breakout room, you must provide 10 products with different ratings. Okay. Do you have any questions? So I will break you out now. Ilan ba tayo? 72. Okay. Into 7 groups. And then your outputs, okay, you must submit it via ano na lang, Word document. Okay? And then you will present it later. So let's have 10 rooms. And I'll give you, ilang minutes ang gusto nyo? 10. Okay. Kasi may formula, I'll give you 15 minutes. Is this okay? 15?
Sir, 20 na po. Sakto 3 o'clock yung pong ano.
O sige. Alright. And then you will present your answers. Okay. So, here you go. I'll ping. Nakuha nyo ba yung mga problems? Ten rooms. So I'll open now the rooms and then I'll visit you timely. Mr. Establecida, Miss Laderos, Miss Cometa, Miss Bacosa, Pangadlo, Malunes, Capales, Miss Manyo and Miss Bertes. Can you hear me? Okay, so I think we can proceed. Okay, so do you have any questions, class? Sige, so may 6 groups pa tayo, hindi pa.
Sir, wait lang po. Pina-finalize lang po yung mga members.
Okay, no problem. Sige. So before we discuss the answers, okay, so let's proceed with the learning outcomes of our topic. So that particular activity, as what you can see if you reviewed the module, the part 2 of your midterm is more on computations. Okay, but because we are not on a face-to-face classroom and we have a very limited number of hours per session, so that particular activity na lang ang mapoprovide ko sa inyo. Okay? Pero kung face-to-face tayo, normally, marami kayong computations na gagawin every meeting. Okay, so just feel free to review the reading material. That's inside your classroom, inside your Google Classroom, and then the reading materials, andito yung mga formulas. Okay. So for this particular session, you should be able to explain the concept of value and how it can be increased. And then you should be able to describe a value chain. And then you should explain the outsourcing and vertical integration. And then explain offshoring. And then identify the important issues associated with value chains and how sustainability plays to be an important role in value chains. So can someone please read this? Let's have Mr. Fernandez. What is a value chain?
A value chain is a network
Please.
of facilities and processes that describes the flow of goods, services, information, and financial transactions from suppliers to the facilities and processes that create goods and services and deliver them to customers.
Okay, so this is self-explanatory naman, no? This is the flow of goods, services, and information in financial transactions, okay, from your suppliers. Okay, and then supply chain, let's have Ms. Manatad.
A supply chain is the portion of the value chain that focuses primarily on the physical movements of goods and materials and supporting flows of information and financial transactions through the supply, production, and distribution processes.
Okay, very good. So supply chain, you will have that subject, supply chain management. That is under a value chain. Okay? Wherein, kailangan yung mag-focus on the physical movement of goods and materials from one point to another, from supplier all the way to distributors, from distributors back to suppliers, and so on and so forth. And then sometimes from distributors all the way to your customers. Okay, that's part of the distribution process. So that's the difference between the two chains. Okay? And then value, okay. So I think included siya sa ating activity. But for you to appreciate it, can someone read what value means in business? Let's have Mr. Rosas. Rosas, correct.
Hello, sir. Yung value po, sir.
Mm-mm.
Hello?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-mm.
Value is the perception of the benefits associated with a good, service, or bundle of goods
Mm-mm.
and services in relation to what buyers are willing to pay for them.
Correct. Okay, so for example, yun nga, yung mga pinagawa ko sa inyo, you rated it from the most valuable to the least valuable. Okay, so that's value. Okay. Then sometimes, value is directly proportional rin sa quality and directly proportional to price. Okay. So if a particular item is valuable, if it is of high quality, yung brand, well-known, so directly proportional siya sa price. So the higher the quality, the higher the price. Okay. The more popular the brand, the more luxurious the brand, the higher is the value of the product. Okay. So how do we define value? So for example, Coco versus Gongcha. Can someone rate this? Erica, Manipon.
Sir,
Which is more valuable for you, Coco or
Gongcha
Gongcha?
po.
Why?
Mas masarap siya eh.
Mas masarap. Oh, so
Opo.
taste. Okay. Next, let's have Miss Mr. Postrado. Greenwich or Pizza Hut? Which is more valuable for you?
Pizza Hut po.
Why?
Ayun lang po natitikman ko.
Okay, rich, no? So you haven't tasted Greenwich pizza yet? Hello? Derek?
Sir?
Oo. Hindi mo pa natitikman yung Greenwich?
Yes po.
Okay. Yeah.
Lasagna lang po.
Oo. So yun, no? Yan yung makapag-suggest din on how you rate, on how valuable a certain company or product or brand is based on how yung experience mo na siya. Okay? That's good. Next, let's have Nike versus Adidas. Let's have Jesse.
Nike po, sir.
Nike. Why?
Yung po yung sapatos ko eh.
Sapatos mo. Okay. And in terms of endorsements, endorsers, valuable pa rin ba siya kaysa kay Adidas?
For me, yes. Kasi nainganyo niya akong bumili nito and mag-collecta ng mga sapatos ng Nike.
Okay, nice. Okay. So next, let's have Miss Chu.
Yes
Kemi
po,
or
sir.
ABS?
ABS po.
Why?
Yung quality po nung mga teleserye and films po nila.
Okay. And yeah, pero let's face it, no? Currently, the value of GMA and ABS-CBN can be measured based on stock market. Okay? Sometimes, no? Minsan iba-iba yan. Value based on ratings, value based on subscriptions. Di ba may 37 million subscribers si ABS compared kay GMA na 25 million. And then also the stock market, no? Stock market price. Hindi nyo rin makikita. Minsan the volume, no? Mari price in GMA 7. GMA 7 is more valuable right now because the price is how much? Let's see. Okay. So price is 14 pesos per share. How about ABS? So ABS is 13.98. So almost dikit naman sila, no? Pero for that particular instance, mas valuable si GMA. Okay, pero yun nga, based on quality naman, based on your perspective, mas valuable si ABS, which is correct. Okay? Para lang mabalance na. Okay. Pero nakakagulat, no, biglang taas si ABS-CBN. Why? So maybe siguro nakaka-recover na siya. Okay? So what you can see, stock market niya, bagsak dati and then tumaas. Nice. Thank you, Miss Chu. Next, let's have Samsung versus Apple. Let's have Karen, Miss Martinez. Which is more valuable for you, Samsung or Apple?
Apple po, sir.
Okay.
Kasi po, di ba, alam naman po natin na pagdating sa quality, talagang solid po talaga siya. Tsaka, palagi po siyang nagtitrend.
Yeah. Oo, correct. And then, mas high quality siya, no? And then, yung software updates niya, nagtatagal. Okay, so from iPhone 6 ba? No, nakapag-update pa na siya. Unlike nung Samsung, every 2 years talaga you need to update. ng phone, not lang ng software kasi hanggang 2 years lang siya pwede. Yan in terms of stock market, mas valuable ang Apple kaysa kay Samsung. So trillions na yung value ng Apple. Okay. Pero that's on perspective pa rin, no? Next, how about this? Jollibee or McDonald's? Let's have Villafuerte, Quincy.
Jollibee po.
Jollibee, why?
Mas mas patok po kasi sa bata yung pagkain sa Jollibee.
Okay. All right. And then when we ask an American person naman, syempre iba naman yung valuable for him, no? Which is I think McDonald's. Okay? So value is the benefit that a customer gets, okay, by using a product or a service to satisfy her needs minus the cost. Okay? So that's another meaning of value. So mas beneficial sa iyo, for example si Jollibee kasi madalas mo siya nakakainan, no? Or based on the feedbacks, no, ng mga bata, yan, or ng customer, sarap panlasang Pinoy, something like that. So mas valuable siya for you. Okay? So and then let's have functionality. So there are two critical lenses wherein an operations a manager needs to look or to decide within a functionality of a certain product. Firstly is the value and the complexity of the product. Okay? Sometimes you as an operations manager, you need to decide on what laptop to use. Okay? A Mac or a Windows laptop. So let's try to ask 3 students, no? 3 of your classmates. If you are an operations manager, what would you select? Okay, based on value and complexity. An Acer, an Ace, ano ba magandang Lenovo laptop or a Mac laptop? Let's have, sige, may nag-raise yan. Sige,
Sir,
Mr.
pwede ako.
Okay.
Sir, based on my experience kasi,
Mhm.
I have an Apple laptop tas may Asus ako.
Okay.
Kung sir, kasi dalawa, kung convenience, kung pagiging convenience, sir, mas gusto ko yung mga Windows laptop kasi hindi siya mahirap hindi siya mahirap i-update or downloadan ng mga applications. Unlike sa Apple kasi, sir, very restricted yung pag-update niya saka pagda-download niya ng applications. So may mga kailangan specific applications ka lang na pwedeng download sa kanya. For example, sir, 'di ba usual nating ginagamit sa pag-e-encode mga Microsoft Word. So pwede ka namang mag-download ng Microsoft Word sa MacBook. Yun nga lang, medyo komplikado unlike sa mga Windows laptop. Ang pwede mong gamitin sa Mac, sir, may mga tayo diyan, mga Keynote, ganun. Pero kung pagdating naman, sir, sa kunwari sa technical side, mas okay ako kay MacBook. Si MacBook kasi, sir, maganda yung mga processor niya, yung chips na ginagamit. Saka mas nabibilisan ako compare sa mga Windows laptop.
In terms of speed and if you are a vlogger, may friend akong vlogger, no? Yung pang-edit niya ng videos, Mac. Pero the other things na na siya, Windows na, no? Even kami sa mga programming jobs, mas preferred yung mga Windows kasi mas marami kang may store, hindi siya limited, and then yung license hindi masyadong mahigpit. 'Di ba? You can, and then yung makakapag-transfer ka from one device to another ng files nang wala masyadong hesitancy kung mabablock ba siya. Kasi 'di ba ang Mac for Apple lang talaga normally. Ganun, no? And
yes, ganun nga
and
po.
then cheaper si Windows laptop compared kay Mac. So if you are an operations manager, you must think, no? And you must decide properly kung alin ba ang pipiliin. Depende sa job description ng employee na papasok sa inyo. Kunwari, marketing assistant siya. Normally, kung gumagawa siya ng mga marketing, yung mga posters, something like that, or designs, or video creator siya, kailangan nyo siyang isyuhan ng Mac. Pero kung programmer siya or ordinary staff or employee, okay, isyuhan natin siya ng Windows laptop. Something like that. No? Okay, very good. Next, product value. So that's the benefit that a customer gets by using a certain product. So in our case, laptop. So product value of a certain laptop depends on what can satisfy that particular job minus the cost. Okay? So you as operations manager, kailangan makakompute ninyo yan. So kunwari, Okay. A typical Windows laptop na high-end, normally that's around 70,000 pesos. And then for a Mac, that's normally sabihin natin 100,000. 100,000 or 120, no? Yung higher end ng Mac. So if you have a certain employee lang, let's say, assistant, administrator, assistant, admin. Okay, minsan pa nga mako-consider natin yung mas lower end pa ng Windows laptop. Okay, so normally 30K. And then meron siyang mga specifications. Okay, so may checklist kayo niyan, may guide ka, and then you will put a check mark, no, based on ilang RAM ba yung needed niya, etc. Okay, we check yan. Then kapag halimbawa manager, ano ibibigay natin kay manager? Windows yan, something like that. Okay, kay marketer, senior, no? Senior, market, something, no? So dito mo siya. O kaya kung sa advertising siya, you can provide his or her a Mac. Okay? Kunwari yung mga nagtatrabaho sa Canva, if you're familiar with Canva, you are being issued with a Mac, no? Mac PC or Mac laptop, MacBook. Okay? Kasi ganun yung work nila, mas kailangan. Depende kasi sa apps na naka-install. Okay? You as operations manager, kailangan ma-detect ninyo kung ano yung specific thing that is valuable for that particular job. And then complexity, effort that is associated with delivering such product to the customer. Okay? And then absolute value. Absolute value typically, di ba kapag nagtatanggal tayo ng negative value on a certain number, that's absolute value. For example, what is the absolute value of negative 5? Let's have Miss Galvez. What's the absolute value of negative 5? Galvez? Sige, Miss Manatad.
Positive 5.
Yeah, 5, no? Yeah, that's the absolute value. Okay? So from here, example 2. What's the absolute value of 2? Ay, negative 2. So the absolute value is 2. And then for positive 9. So the absolute value is 9. Okay? So ganun siya. Tatanggalin niyo lahat ng negative of a certain product, tanggalin yung biases, and that is the absolute value of a certain product. Okay, tanggalin yung positive sa kanya, tanggalin yung negative, tanggalin yung bias, that is absolute value. Okay. Next. So we have perceived value naman. From the word itself, perceived. Okay? Kunwari, if you are being presented of a certain product, let's see, kuha tayo ng calculator. Okay? So this one, kunwari ibibigay nyo ito sa CPA ninyo ng company. Okay? So what do you think? How much would that particular calculator cost? Yeah, Miss Alina, what's the price? What do you think is the price of that particular calculator na ibibigay niyo sa CPA?
Around 1,000 po.
1,000 pesos. So that's your perceived value. Okay.
Pero feeling ko po mas higher pa.
Mas higher pa. Nice. How about ikaw rin, Miss Alina, no? Correct?
Apa.
How about this? Ito naman ginagamit ng mga engineers. Okay, if you have a mechanical engineer in your company, electrical engineer, what do you think? How much is this particular calculator?
Mga around mga 1.8 po, ganun po. Kasi parang mas marami po kasi siyang function compare po dun sa sa isa po.
So that's an example of perceived value. Do you have any questions, class? So that's a customer's own perception of a product. You as operations manager, kailangan din alam niyo yung perceived value. Okay? And then after you knew yung perceived value niyo of a particular product, you need to research. Okay? Hanapin niyo yung price via Google, no? And then you can see the actual. And then kasi minsan, kapag halimbawa mukhang mumurahin, di ba? Hindi maganda naman tignan sa mga employees natin. You need to research. Okay? Minsan kasi pag mukhang cheap yung item, kahit mahal pa ang bilhin niyo diyan, may perception yung employee natin. Minsan nga kapag inisyuhan natin sila ng Mac kahit medyo low end yung price, minsan na-uplift sila, natutuwa sila. Kahit mga mumurahing Mac. laptops lang ang ibibigay natin. So that's an example of perceived value. But, okay, you must measure the price the public is willing to pay or your company is willing to pay for that particular item without compromising the quality of the product. Okay? And then yun nga, dyan na include yung pagre-research ng product. Okay? And then value chain, na-discuss na natin to. Here's an example of the input and output model. Ito na nga, no? From suppliers, and then yung input from people, information, physical goods, and then value creation processes. And then we have, syempre, ang input niyan, the most important economic values natin, the land, labor, and capital. And then we have goods, services, output, and outcomes, and then the services after you sold a particular item. So these goods and services are delivered and provided to customers and targeted market segments. So value chain model, common naman na to, no? You should first gain the customer. You must create value for that particular customer, and then you must keep the customer. If the value of your product is high, syempre, mas bibili sa inyo si customer. One example of this is Frankie's. Na-experience yung naklas kumain sa Frankie's? Ganito, nakakain na kayo?
Yes, sir.
Yes, po, papansin nyo kapag kumain kayo sa kanila, mahaba pila, may... Okay, normally, based on research, okay, mahaba lagi ang pila ng Frankie's, especially prior pandemic. Why? Dahil nasasarapan, no? Masarap daw yung quality ng pagkain nila or nung wings nila. Dami grab food. O yun, di ba? Marami rin grab food. Sabi, marami nag-order. Kasi prior pandemic, pinipilahan yan sa Mega Mall. If you will come doon sa 5th floor na food, ano yan? Food court. Di ba marami silang nagtitinda doon. Maraming restaurants doon sa food court nila. Pero siya lang yung pinipilahan. No? Lahat ng customers nila comes from Frankie's. Kawawa yung mga katabi niyang mga other stores. Okay, ganun siya ka-popular. And then ngayon nga, online lang tayo. No? Ayan, maraming ng grab food na nakapila because of quality. Yan ang example ng value chain model. Okay, pinag-aaralan na ng maayos yung menu nila to gain customer, value creation, and keeping the customer. And then kapag mga ano naman, technological products or IT products like mobiles, mobile phones, smartphones, laptops, PCs, okay, yan, mapapansin niyo meron tayong mga customer service centers. Okay, na mag-install, magre-repair, then warranty and claim services, post-sale visits and services. Sa PLDT naman, sa smart kapag wala kayong internet, you can call, no? So 171 for PLDT, and then they will address your technical issues. So that's how you keep a customer. Okay. One bad experience naman sa akin is Sky Cable. Hindi maganda yung Sky Cable, Sky Internet. Hindi maganda yung customer service nila. So dito yung Sky users. Wala. Sky Fiber, Internet. Napakahirap nila makontakt. Okay, napakahirap makontakt ng Sky. Walang sumasagot na customer service representative dun sa hotline nila. Then you must reach out to them via email, via Twitter, via Facebook. Ganun lang. Okay, bad customer service. Okay, so we have production and operations standard. So I think nabanggit ko na rin to dati. Everything must be standardized inside your workplace. Okay? A criteria must be established para isa lang ang i-judge natin na output. So, there must be a criteria, a standard criteria para pag tingin nyo, you can measure, no, kung magkano ang i-increase natin on a particular employee. Magkano increase, yung KPI, na-meet ba, etc. Then sa inyo, example, students, di ba, may criteria tayo kung anong format na kailangang i-send para ma-measure namin yung output ninyo in comparison to other students. And then we have, before we go there, dito na. Okay, so value. So value, when you compute this in your workplace as operations manager, okay, perceived benefits divided by cost. Okay. So the higher the benefit, okay, and then the lower the cost, mas mataas yung value. Kapag mababa naman yung perceived benefit, mataas yung price, mababa yung value. Okay. Yung kanina. So these are the formulas lang ng economics of outsourcing. Outsourcing meaning uh, rendering the job outside your company. For example, si Accenture, it's an outsourcing company wherein si SM, okay, one of its clients, okay, kinukuha yung service ng mga call center agents ni Accenture para yun yung sasagot nung mga concerns ng certain employee. For example, si PLDT, nag-outsource sila ng job ng call center na yon sa ibang company. Okay? Para sila yung sasagot ng mga concerns ng mga customers. Okay? Before, si Jollibee, okay, nag-outsource siya ng chicken sa ibang suppliers. Prior nung chicken sad, kung maalala niyo si chicken sad, na walang chicken silang na-produce. Kaya ngayon, as a resolution do sa issue na na-encounter nila, nagkaroon na sila ng farm. So si Jollibee, na-minimize na yung pag-outsource niya ng product. Okay, yung dependency niya sa ibang suppliers. Okay, so that's outsourcing. So another example of outsourcing, skilled knowledge work. For example, yung engineering design, ina-outsource yan, hindi yung hina-hire sa company ninyo. Ito nga, call centers, computer chip design, architectural designs, or architectural plans, ina-outsource natin yan. Okay? Sometimes, ina-outsource din natin yung mga simple services like billing, may transaction processing, software development, yan. BPO, from the word itself, business process outsourcing. Business process outsourcing. So, lahat ng companies ko ay under BPO, pero not necessarily na ako ay call center agent. Diba? Nagde-develop ako ng mga softwares. So, that's part of business process outsourcing. Kaya pag sinabing BPO ako nagtatrabaho, kunwari may nakausap kayo, saan nagtatrabaho sa BPO? Minsan, ang thinking nila, call center, correct? Pero in reality, marami pang mga jobs na ginagawa sa loob ng business process outsourcing, like IT. Okay? Yung software development. So that's an example. For example, may business kayo and then you want to create a website for your business. I-outsource ninyo yung paggawa ng website ngayon. Mas makakatipid kayo kasi you don't need to hire a person. Okay? You just need to speak to a certain representative ng BPO na yun for them to do the website for you. And then you will just pay them on a certain amount. Okay? That's outsourcing. Okay, take note of this. Because kapag nasa corporate world na kayo, kapag sinabing, for example, let's have Miss Evangelista, no? We need to outsource a certain product. So yan, kailangan marunong kayo mag-compute ng total cost of production, total cost of outsourcing, etc. Just in case na kailangan nyo mag-compute ng ganito. Basta you should know lang yung mga fixed costs, yung mga quantity, kung ilan ang kailangan ninyong i-produce, no? And then the break-even point. Hindi na tayo magko-compute ng masyadong complicated. Okay, so we can move forward na to another topic. Okay, yan. So, tayo dito. Yeah, measurement. Measurement, you as a future operations manager, you must act you must act through measuring the performances of your employees. So that is quantifying the performance criteria, which we call as metrics. Take note of this word, metrics, of organizational units, goods and services, processes, people, and other business activities. Okay. So para rin siyang rubrics. So you have certain metrics to meet. For example, okay, ako operations manager and this is the metrics of a certain employee. Kunwari si Ann. Okay. You have attendance, okay, output, ano pa? Tardiness, ang mga metrics na mini-measure natin. Participation, quality, something like that. Okay? And then from attendance, let's say 90%. Okay. And then the output niya, let's say 90% din. Tardiness niya, 0. And sa participation with regards to giving insights, okay, on helping the group to achieve its goals and objectives, let's say 100% ang binigay ni operations manager. And then the quality of work niya, 90%. And then, anong average niyan? Normally kasi ang tardiness is demerit. Alam niyo ba yung tardiness class? Anyone? Late, no? Pagiging late. So normally, dinededuct yan. Halimbawa, may tardiness siya na isa, magiging 91.5 na lang to. Okay? And then, for example, si Anne, currently ang job niya is nasa level 1. Okay? Level 1 secretary siya. Secretary. Okay? And then, there's a certain metric that needs to be met. Okay. Kunwari, for you to be level 2 secretary, kailangan ang average mo is 93. Level 3 ka naman, 94. Level 4, 95. Okay? And then level 5, 96 and above. No? Yan. So this is a sample metrics na kailangan mong ma-meet. Ibig sabihin, pasado na siya kasi kung i-round up natin yan, mapopromote na siya for level. Okay, so that's a sample matrix. And then I think I can share another sample matrix. Ayan. In the office. Kadalasan titingnan nyo rin yung mga reports. Something like this. Yan, no? Okay. Yung mga groups ninyo. And then this one, you should be able to read this. Okay. Yan, business project office, kung ilan yung late na items, ilan yung open issues, yan, plus. You as operations manager, you must know how to read this one. And then ako, as programmer, okay, meron kaming design na ginagamit. Nasa second quadrant, madalas yung highlights. And then the key summary are always on the first quadrant of the Cartesian coordinate plane. On the third quadrant, the fourth quadrant, I mean, are the links. And then on the third quadrant, we have the details and the tables and charts. Okay? Para kapag halimbawa tinignan ng operations manager, ng director, ng CEO ng company, mas madali niyang makikita yung mga metrics. Okay? This is an example of the key metrics and these are the metrics. Do you have any questions? Okay, so take note of this word. Napaka-importante. Okay? Next. Financial measures. Okay? Normally, ang kailangan lang naman natin kino-compute is the revenue or the income. So we have the net income and then the gross income. And then we have the return of investment or our ROI. You are also being told to compute the operating profit, the pre-tax profit margin, asset utilization, kung ilang beses ba nagagamit yung particular asset. Kunwari, bumili kayo ng printer. Okay, gaano mo siya kadalas na utilize? Okay, and then growth, revenue from new goods and services, earnings per share, yun sa stock market to class, and then other liquidity measures. Kunwari yung cash flow ng company. So, kasama to sa mini-measure ninyo. Pero ang nagko-compute nito class is typically the financial manager na, or FM. Okay, kayo lang yung mag-a-analyze. Okay. And then, kapag customer and market measures naman, mini-measure natin through feedbacks. Okay, yung customer satisfaction, customer retention, gains and losses, kung ilan ang nawalang customer, mga customer complaints, yan ang madalas na mini-measure natin class. No? And then we have warranty claims, measures ng perceived value, loyalty, positive referral, and the customer relationship building. Okay, madalas ngayon, because of technology, nag-send tayo ng SMS or email sa customer. And then with regards to market measures naman, kinocompute natin yung market share. Kunwari, meron kayong store, i-analyze natin kung ilang percent ba within your town or within your barangay yung market share ninyo. Kunwari, okay, prior closing ng ABS-CBN, its market share is around 50%, while GMA is 30%. Pero nung nag-shutdown si ABS-CBN, yung share niya is naging 20% na lang. And then, ang mga nanonood ngayon sa GMA ay nasa 70% to 80%. Ganyan yung market share. Okay? So, ito yung typical na nanonood sa kanila ngayon. Okay? Kasi wala na nga sila sa free TV. Okay? And then, na-transfer naman sa GMA. And then, syempre, this is just an example kasi may iba-iba pang mga channels. Okay? Yun sa free TV. So, ganito siya. Compute. Okay. So, you have also the business growth, new product and geographic markets entered, and then the percentage of new product shares. Okay. Quality, okay, the degree of how the output meets the customer requirements. You have the good quality and service quality. That's it. Okay, so processing time, queuing time. Queuing time is the waiting time. Okay, and then the processing time is how you perform the task from start to end. So, kunwari, may pumunta sa customer service, no? Okay, customer service. Service. Okay, so dumating siya ng 8 o'clock, natapos si customer ng 8:20. So, may 20 minutes siyang processing time. Okay, yung queuing time naman, halimbawa, dumating siya ng 8 o'clock, and then 8:10, muna siya na-address. Okay. So, arrival ni customer, okay, time addressed, time ended. Okay. So, typically, ito class, pagkadating niya ng customer service area, okay, na-address siya agad ng 8 o'clock. Natapos siya ng 8:20, so that's 20 minutes. Okay. Ito naman, 8:10 na siya na-address, natapos siya, let's say, 8:25. So, na-address siya within 15 minutes. So, from this particular example, the processing time is 20 minutes and 15 minutes. And then, for the queuing time, okay, the queuing time is here, 0, and then here is 10 minutes. Okay. Based on the data, okay, the actual time wherein the customer is inside the store, so we have 20 minutes si customer nasa loob ng store and yung isang customer naman ay 25 minutes. Okay? So that's how you analyze the data. Okay, kumari si customer 1 to end, customer 2. Okay, do you have any questions with regards to processing time and queuing time? Clear naman, no? Okay. So next, let's have flexibility. That's your ability to adapt quickly and effectively on changing requirements. This is self-explanatory. Okay, volume flexibility naman, based on the demand. How would you respond quickly? Based on the volume of the demand of customers of your particular item or service. Okay. And then innovation. Innovation refers to the ability to create new and unique goods. So we have innovation and invention. Can someone differentiate what's innovation and what's invention? Can someone differentiate? Yes, Mr. Romualdo.
Sir, invention is yung kapag meron kang na-invent na isang bagay. For example, yung kay Thomas Alva Edison, he invented, sir, the fluorescent lamp. Na ibig sabihin nun, sir, something na isang bagay na hindi pa napoproduce before. So yun yung invention. Innovation naman, sir, something or a product na nagawa na before and then meron kang binago sa process or dun sa produkto na nagkaroon ng mas magandang benefit.
Kunwari, for example, yung mga LED lights na, something like
Yes,
that.
sir, yun, LED lights.
So that's innovation. Very good. Meron pa nasa queue? Can someone also provide another one? Okay, so for example, another invention natin is the iPhone, no? And then nagkaroon siya ng another innovation, nagkaroon another versions, di ba? iPhone 2, 3, 4, etc., X, 12, 13, no? So that's innovation. And then sometimes, okay, innovation rin yung upgrades. Ibang different types ng phones, okay, Samsung, etc. So that's innovation. Okay? Next. Okay, triple bottom line refers to the measurement of environmental, social, and economic sustainability. Okay, 3BL. Ang important concept lang dito is your company must be able to measure the energy consumption, the air emissions, especially if you are a factory. Okay, the solid and hazardous waste rates. And then for social sustainability naman, you must be able to measure customer and workplace safety, consumer relations, corporate ethics and governance, and ethical violations. Okay, and you as OM, you should be able also to measure the financial audit results. Okay, results. Okay, and then the regulatory compliance of your office. If there are sanctions or fines, you must be able to address that properly. And then the accomplishment of strategic initiatives. And then I think we can move forward. On our next meeting, we will discuss forecasting and then the basic concepts of forecasting and then quality. Okay, so that's okay. And then time 5 minutes. Okay, so for this particular slide, okay, you should be able to describe the different types of technology. Okay, and then explain how manufacturing and service technology is strengthening the value chain. You should be able to explain the benefits and challenges using technology, and you should be able to describe key technology decisions and processes. So this is just a case study. For technology, you as operations manager, you should know that there's a physical and informational type of technology. Okay, so technological innovation, you should know that in goods, services, manufacturing, service delivery, that's a very a necessity in our company, especially if it's a very competitive one. So for example, yung mga apps, paggamit ng application, pag-upgrade ng softwares, etc. So we have the hard technology or the hardware. These are the equipment and service devices which are tangible. Tangible na hawakan. Hard technology natin, mga PC, MacBooks, okay, air conditions, machines, okay. And then for the soft technology naman, ito yung mga ginagawa ko, no? Software, computer software, information systems, data integration, information and analysis. So these are the types of software and hardware technology. Yeah, okay lang. Yeah, okay lang po. And then, so for manufacturing, kung dito kayo mapupunta, okay, so right technology must be selected for goods that are produced. You, as a operations manager, okay, your employees must be trained on how to operate the equipment, of course. Okay? And then yung process performance ninyo, kailangan ma-improve from time to time para mas marami kayong ma-produce na items. And then work must be scheduled to meet shipping commitments and quality must be ensured. I believe I have shown here no yung quality sticker, no QC and QA stickers. Especially yan yung ginagamit sa mga manufacturing technology companies. And then we have computer integrated manufacturing systems. I think yung iba sa inyo may subject na computer integrated manufacturing systems. So this is the union of hardware and softwares. Okay, database management kung meron kayong business logic na subject, and communications to automate and control production activities. So ito yung IT part. Okay, and then you have numerical controls sa logistics management naman to class. Okay, and then robot. Robot is a programmable machine designed to handle materials or tools in the performance of a variety of tasks. Pakita lang sa inyo ang typical na robot. Okay, the actual robot, hindi yung robot na nai-imagine ninyo class na ganito itsura. Okay, robots, Amazon. Ganito class, these are robots. Okay, yan. Okay, ganyan yung mga robots. They are being called as robots. Okay, so to fulfill an item, imagine niyo itong mga robots na to na hindi na tao yung nagsusort ng mga deliveries or ng mga packages from one point to another. Ito ng mga robots na yan yung gumagalaw. Okay, so makikita ninyo sa factories ng mga Amazon or inside the warehouse of Amazon, wala masyadong tao. Ang mga gumagalaw lang ay mga robots. Ganyan din sa Shopee and Lazada. Okay, as what we can see, yung mga tao nawawalan ng trabaho because of technology. Okay? Ito yung mga sample robots. Okay, and then, yeah. Do you have any questions, class? Any violent reactions? Any questions with regards to the module or your task number 2? I think we will continue this next meeting. Okay. Do you have any questions, class? Wala na.
None po.
Sige, so kindly send your outputs and then I'll provide a feedback next meeting. So I hope you learned. Okay, so thank you so much, class. Have a nice weekend. See you
Thank
next
you, sir.
God bless.
Thank you, sir. Thank you po.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you po.